Alright guys, welcome back to the channel once again, and in this video we're going to be talk about the sub application in the Fast API. So let's suppose you have already one application up and running and you want to create another application. So why you want to create another code structure or repository setup and all those things? You can create another application in the same repository in the same server by default. Like when it is already up and running, like you need to initialize another Fast API and then you're gonna be start using it. So same way, it's another topic over here, sub application mount. So let's look into that, how we can use it. So it says like you already have one application defined over there, like app equals to Fast API. So same way you can define another one like sub API equals to Fast API. Okay, so sub API or sub app you can say, and then you can just say sub app equals to Fast API, and after that what you have to do, you can just mount it with the app, the main one. So app.mount you can use, and then you have to define a route like what another, like the endpoints which is defined under the sub app, so where it's gonna be going. So you have to define a prefix endpoint for the sub app, and that's it. So let's look into that. So as you can see my screen over here, so there's one app is defined, app equals to Fast API, and another one sub API equals to the Fast API. But when you mount this sub API into the app, so you have to define a prefix route, which is this one. So whenever you will create any other APIs like this sub API.get and all, so all these APIs which come under the sub API, it's gonna be mount after the sub APIs. The final endpoint is gonna be sub API slash sub, and then you will get the response hello world from the sub API. So that's the kind of thing you have to do, and then it's pretty cool, right? Like let's suppose you have a multiple features or module in an application and you want to create different kind of endpoints for each and every one. So whether creating a different repo structure like we do in the microservices and all. So and also you can do one thing over here, like you can define different middleware for each and every module. Like let's suppose you want to use middleware, authentication middleware some places, and some places you don't want to use that. So what you can do, you can create multiple modules like this, like in Fast API, and then you can differentiate the routes and then you can use it. So same way, that's why this feature is given over here. So you can just use app equals to Fast API and sub API, and then sub API routes gonna be totally different. So also everything's gonna be different for that. Like the Swagger link gonna be different. It's gonna be coming after the sub API slash docs, and then you're gonna be finding all the sub API related routes. And the by default docs, like you go the slash docs, and then you will find all the routes related to this app one. Okay, not the sub API one. So let's try it out. Let's look into that code base, how we can use it. So I already have up and running this app equals to Fast API. So what I'll do now, I'll just create another one like sub app equals to Fast API. Okay, and I will just mount this one, app.mount equals to, so I have to define a route sub app and equals to sub app. Okay, and then create one route at the rate sub app dot get, and then I just define the route like health check health and def get health status. Okay, something like this, and then just put it like this, and then return status equals to sub app is running. Okay, so this is gonna be my another route. Okay, and after that this is my health route must be start with this one. So you have to make sure this route should be start with slash, and all set. And let's try it out on the URL. So it's running in the same server, but it's mounted with this main one. Okay, so you have to, and as many as sub apps you create into this one, all should have been mounted with this one. Okay, so it's gonna be coming underneath of that one. So let's go over here, let's reload the page, and then you see you don't find the route over here which related to sub API. Okay, so let's try another URL, localhost 8000 slash sub app slash health. So we got sub app is up and running. Okay, now let's try the docs one, and you see we got our one of the URL over here. So it's coming under the sub app. Okay, and the app is running on the different one. This is the one main one, and this is sub app. Okay, and execute. Okay, so you got sub app is up and running. Now let's try it one more thing over here. Let's me create another application over here, which is, let's just copy all this code and just create sub app 1. Okay, and then do sub app 1, and just do sub app 1, and then sub app 1. Okay, something like this. Now let's try it out, it is also working or not. Let me create the duplicate of this one and then put the sub app 1 over here, and voila, it works. So I have the apps up and running in the single server, and isn't it cool, like the fast API? So you don't have to create multiple repository for this one. You can just create different app, create different their routings over here. Prefix gonna be totally different and everything all set. There is another topic also into this one, which is behind a proxy. So behind a proxy is another topic over here where you can include the root path and you can route your traffic to the different path. Okay, so let's suppose you have to include the prefix at the top of the, like at the starting of endpoint, and then you want to change the routing of it. Let's suppose your initial routing is different and you want to client side routing, you want to make it different. So you can use this phenomena which is called root path. Okay, so the root path, if you include it over here, so it will change your URL. Okay, it's same like the prefix you add in routing, like when you define a router, you add a prefix like app/v1 or whatever you want to define. So it's a kind of same like this, and you have this kind of like we do in the Nginx. Okay, so Nginx, what we do, you define the route like the default path name, and then you include like this path name will point to this server, like this port server. Okay, so localhost HTTP 8000 or something like that. So same kind of thing over here, like it will point to the same server, but you can change the routing over here. It will just call that API. So you see over here it defines the browser calls this one, and it will go to this one. So the root path will automatically forward it to the /app API. Okay, so it's kind of thing. And rest of the other things also, like you can run this root path like this, or you can include it into the code base as well, like when you define your fast API module. So that time you can just under this one over here, you can just pass root path equals to /API/v1 like this. Okay, so it's gonna be running into the /API/v1. Now if I go to the browser and then I hit this enter, so it will run on this one as well. Now what I do, I just include the /API/v1/ something like this, and then it's running on this URL as well. So on the client side you can pass this one, and then it will automatically call that /apps. It will work. So that's how you can use the prefix as well. So all set guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something from this one, and which it is very interesting and cool topic to reduce your code base, and then you can utilize it. So thank you so much guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.